That night, my son screamed in the middle of a packed restaurant, "My wife doesn't lie!" And he pointed at me, his own mother, as if I were a thief. $800. That was the figure that destroyed everything I thought I knew about my family. But what no one imagined was that those security cameras didn't just show who took the money, but something much worse. My name is Eleanor Vance. I am 58 years old, and for my entire life, I believed that a mother's love was enough to sustain anything. I believed that being good, being patient, being silent when I should have spoken, would make me worthy of respect. That night, I learned I was wrong. It all started 3 weeks earlier when Michael, my only son, called me with that excited voice I hadn't heard since he was a boy. "Mom, Tiffany and I want to take you out to dinner, a nice place to celebrate." "Celebrate what, honey?" I asked, feeling that warm joy only a mother knows. "I'll tell you there. Just dress up. You're going to be surprised." I hung up with my heart swelling with hope. Maybe a baby, maybe a promotion, maybe Tiffany would finally see me as part of the family and not as that uncomfortable shadow that appears at Christmas. That afternoon, I fixed myself up like I hadn't done in years. I put on the navy blue dress I bought for Michael's wedding, the one I never wore again because it reminded me of how alone I felt that day, sitting in the front row while Tiffany ignored me in every photograph. I applied my makeup carefully, put on perfume. I wanted to look good. I wanted my son to feel proud of me. How foolish I was. The restaurant was called Angel's Landing. It was one of those places with white tablecloths, crystal wine glasses, and waiters who speak in hushed tones, as if every word were a secret. When I arrived, Michael was already at the table alone. "Where's Tiffany?" I asked, kissing him on the cheek. "She's on her way, Mom. She had to run an errand." I sat across from him, nervous, playing with the cloth napkin in my hands. Michael looked different, more serious, more adult. He was no longer that boy who hugged me every night before sleep. Now he was a man who checked his phone every 30 seconds, waiting for a text from her. "Everything okay, sweetie?" "Yeah, Mom. Everything's perfect." But his smile didn't reach his eyes. Tiffany arrived 20 minutes late. She walked in with that air she always had, as if the entire world should stop to admire her. Perfect blonde hair, tight white dress, a designer bag hanging from her arm like a trophy. Sorry, she said, not sounding sorry at all. Traffic was a nightmare. She sat next to Michael, gave him a quick peck on the lips, and then looked at me. "Hello, Eleanor. Not even mother-in-law. Not even Mrs. Vance. Just my name, cold, distant. Hello, Tiffany. You look very nice." She smiled, but didn't respond. The dinner passed in a strange tension. Michael tried to animate the conversation, talking about work, a trip they were planning, how nice the venue was. I nodded, smiled, asked the necessary questions. Tiffany barely looked at me. At one point, she got up to go to the restroom. She left her bag on the open chair. I didn't touch it. I didn't even look at it. But when she returned, everything changed. She sat down, grabbed her bag, rummaged through it quickly, and her face transformed. "Where is it?" she murmured, digging through her things. "What's wrong?" Michael asked. "My money." "There was $800 in here. In cash. I put it in this morning." My heart stopped. "Are you sure?" Michael checked under the table, the floor around the chair. "Of course I'm sure, Michael. $800 doesn't just walk away." And then Tiffany looked directly at me, fixedly, as if she could see inside me. "Eleanor, did you see anything?" The question fell like a stone in still water. "Me? No, Tiffany. I didn't touch anything. It's just very strange," she said with that soft voice she used when she wanted to sound reasonable. No one else came near the table while I was gone. The silence became heavy. Michael looked at me for just a second, but it was enough. He was thinking it too. "Mom." His voice was hesitant, uncomfortable. "Are you sure you didn't see anything?" I felt the floor opening beneath my feet. "Michael, I didn't touch that bag. I swear to you." Tiffany sighed, bringing a hand to her forehead. "I don't want to accuse anyone, but this is very weird." "Maybe you dropped it in the car," I suggested desperately. "Or at your house. Sometimes we put things away and forget where." "Eleanor, I know perfectly well where I put my money." Her tone was sharp, now accusatory. Michael shifted in his chair. "Tiffany, please. Please what? Michael, do you want me to pretend this didn't happen? People at nearby tables were starting to turn around. I felt the blood pounding in my temples. I didn't steal anything, I said, my voice cracking. I am your mother-in-law. I am your husband's mother. How can you think that of me? Tiffany didn't answer. She just looked at Michael. Oh, God, Michael lowered his gaze. Then Tiffany raised her voice. I want to check your purse. The entire restaurant went silent. What? I whispered, incredulous. If you have nothing to hide, let me check your purse. Tears began to burn my eyes. Tiffany, this is humiliating. Then give me back my money. And that was when Michael exploded. He stood up, his face red, his voice loud, clear, devastating. My wife doesn't lie. The whole restaurant looked at us. He pointed his finger at me at his mother. If she says money is missing, it's because it's missing, and the only one here who could have taken it was you. I don't remember crying. I don't remember breathing. I only remember the weight of all those stares and Michael's hand trembling while he pointed at my bag. Open it, Mom, please. I opened my bag. Tiffany stuck her hand in without asking permission. Nothing, obviously, because I hadn't taken anything, but the humiliation was already done. Tiffany sat down again, feigning tranquility. Well, maybe I was mistaken about the place. Sorry, Eleanor. But her apology sounded hollow, fake. Michael didn't even look at me. I stood up, my legs shaking. I'm going home. Mom, wait. No, Michael. You've done enough. I walked out of that restaurant with my head held high, but my soul destroyed. And as I walked toward the street, I heard something that froze my blood. One of the waiters, a young man with dark hair, was whispering something to the manager while pointing at me. I didn't catch what he said, but his eyes followed me until I disappeared into the night. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my living room with the lights off, looking at the photograph that had always been on the mantelpiece. Michael was 5 years old in that picture. He was sitting on my lap wearing his blue striped shirt and that huge smile that lit up everything. I was hugging him, and he looked at me as if I were his entire world. At what moment did everything change? At what moment did I stop being his refuge and become someone to distrust? Michael was born when I was 30. His father, Robert, died 2 years later in a car accident. A truck ran a red light, a second of distraction, and my entire life collapsed. I was left alone with a small child, without a steady job, without close family who could help me, but I never gave up. I worked cleaning houses, taking in ironing, selling homemade pies on weekends at the farmer's market. Every dollar I earned was for Michael, for his school, for his shoes, so that he never felt he lacked anything. I never bought him expensive toys, but there was always food on the table. There was always a hug when he cried, always a mother waiting up for him no matter the hour. Michael grew up to be a noble, quiet, studious, obedient boy. When he turned 15, he started helping me. He worked Saturdays at a grocery store and gave me half his paycheck without me asking. Mom, this is for you, so you don't have to get so tired. I cried every time he did it. No, son, that money is yours. Save it for your things. You never save anything for yourself, Mom. Now it's my turn to take care of you. Those words. I kept those words like a treasure because they meant I had done well, that despite everything, I had raised a good man. Michael graduated high school with honors. I was in the front row in an old but clean dress, clapping until my hands hurt. Later, he studied business administration at a state university. He worked by day and studied by night. I kept cleaning houses, but it wasn't so hard anymore because I saw him happy, because I saw him building a future. And when he finished his degree, he got a job at a construction management firm. It wasn't a high position, but it was stable. It pays well, Mom. You don't have to work anymore, he told me one day with that seriousness he had learned as an adult. What are you saying, son? That it's time for you to rest. I'll take care of everything. He hugged me, and I cried like I hadn't cried since Robert's death, because I felt that all the sacrifice had been worth it, because my son was a good man. But then came Tiffany. He met her at a work conference. She worked in sales for a supplier. Michael introduced her to me 3 months later. I remember they arrived on a Sunday afternoon. I was making pot roast, my hands covered in flour and my apron stained. I heard the doorbell, opened the door, and there she was. tall, thin, blonde, with impeccable makeup and perfume that smelled expensive. "Mom, this is Tiffany, my girlfriend." Tiffany extended her hand, but she didn't smile. "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Vance," she said. "Come in, please. I was making dinner," I said, wiping my hands on my apron before shaking hers. She walked in, looking at everything with those eyes that seemed to be evaluating every corner of my house. The old walls, the worn furniture, the small TV, the faded curtains. She said nothing, but I felt it, the contempt. During that meal, I tried to converse with her. "Where are you from, honey? The North?" "From Dallas." "Oh, how nice." "And your family?" "My dad owns an import company. My mom is an interior designer." Every answer was short, cold. Michael, on the other hand, couldn't stop looking at her as if she were a miracle. "Tiffany went to a private university, Mom. She speaks perfect French and has a very good position at her company." "That's great, son." "What pride." I served the pot roast. Tiffany barely tasted 2 spoonfuls. "Don't you like it?" I asked, worried. "It's just that I'm not used to eating such heavy food. I watch my diet very closely." Michael laughed nervously. "Mom cooks old school, Tiffany. Very homemade, very traditional." She smiled, but it was a polite smile, not genuine. And I felt small, as if my food wasn't enough, as if my house wasn't enough, as if I wasn't enough. After that day, Michael started to change. At first, it was small things. He stopped coming on Sundays. He said he had plans with Tiffany. He stopped calling me every night. Now it was me who called him, and he was always in a rush. He stopped inviting me out. Before, we went to the movies together, to the park. Now he did everything with her. I tried not to feel displaced. I told myself it was normal, that he was in love, that I should give him space. But it hurt. It hurt to see him drift away little by little, as if I were a chapter he had finished reading. A year later, he told me they were getting married. "Mom, Tiffany and I want to do it in December. A small wedding, but nice." "What happiness, son." "Do you need help with anything?" "No, Mom. Tiffany's family is going to organize everything. They have more experience with these types of events." I swallowed the humiliation. "Okay, I just want to see you happy." "And I am, Mom. Tiffany is the best thing that ever happened to me." I smiled, but inside, something broke. The wedding was at an elegant garden with white flowers, hanging lights, live music. I arrived alone, dressed in the only formal dress I had, the navy blue one I had bought with so much effort. Tiffany's family occupied almost the entire celebration. Her aunts, cousins, friends, all well-dressed, talking about trips and business. I sat at a table in the back next to 2 of Michael's co-workers I barely knew. No one asked me if I needed anything. No one included me in the family photos. When Michael and Tiffany danced their waltz, I watched them from afar with silent tears that no one noticed. And when the party ended, Michael said goodbye to me with a quick hug. "Thanks for coming, Mom. I will always be here for you, my son." He smiled. But it wasn't the same smile anymore. He wasn't my boy. He was Tiffany's husband. The first few months after the wedding, I hardly heard from him. He called occasionally, always in a hurry, always saying they were busy. "Tiffany and I are fixing up the apartment." "Mom." "Oh, that's nice. Can I come see it?" "Sure, Mom. When it's ready, we'll let you know." But they never let me know. One day, I happened to pass near where they lived. I knocked on the door. Tiffany opened it in a silk robe and a look of surprise. "Eleanor." "I didn't know you were coming. I didn't want to bother you. I was just passing by and wanted to say hello." She didn't invite me in. "Michael isn't here." "Oh, well, can I come in for a moment? I brought some cookies I made." Tiffany looked at the cookies as if they were contaminated. "I'm actually in the middle of a Zoom call for work. Maybe another day, Eleanor." And she closed the door. I stood there in the hallway with my bag of cookies in my hands, feeling like a stranger, like someone who was no longer welcome. Months passed. Michael came to see me less and less, always with excuses, always in a hurry, and when he came, he wasn't the same. He talked about things I didn't understand: investments, projects, trips they were taking. He no longer asked how I was. He no longer stayed to eat. He no longer hugged me like before. I tried not to complain. I told myself this is life, that children grow up and form their own families. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just that. Tiffany was pushing him away from me little by little, with subtlety, like someone closing a door without making noise, until that invitation arrived. That call where Michael told me he wanted to invite me to dinner, a nice place to celebrate. And my God, I thought maybe things were going to change, that maybe I was going to get my son back. How wrong I was. That night, after the humiliation at the restaurant, I stood looking at that photograph, Michael, at 5 years old, hugging me, smiling, and I wondered if that child still existed or if Tiffany had erased him completely. The days after that dinner were the longest of my life. I didn't hear from Michael again. Not a call, not a text, not even an apology. Nothing. I waited. I don't know what I was waiting for, maybe for him to knock on my door, to say, "Mom, I'm sorry," to acknowledge that he had hurt me. But the silence was worse than any word, because silence means oblivion, and I didn't want to be forgotten by my own son. A week later, I decided to call him. I dialed his number with trembling hands, mentally rehearsing what I would say. "Son, how are you? I just wanted to hear from you." It rang once, twice, 3 times. I thought he wasn't going to answer. But on the 5th ring, I heard his voice. "Michael. Honey, how are you?" Silence. "I'm good, Mom. Do you need something?" His tone was cold, distant, as if I were an obligation, a transaction he had to complete. "No, honey. I just wanted to know how you are. We haven't spoken in days. I've just been busy. A lot of work." "I understand. And Tiffany? How is she?" Another silence. "Good. Busy too." I took a deep breath, steeling myself. "Michael. About what happened at the restaurant." "Mom, that's over. Let's not talk about that. But I need you to know that I didn't." "Mom, Tiffany has already forgotten it." "You should too." I felt a knot in my throat. "And you, Michael, have you forgotten it too?" "Mom, don't start." "I'm not starting anything, son. I just want to know if you still trust me." "Of course I trust you." But his voice lacked conviction. It was an automatic, empty response. "Then why haven't you come to see me?" "Because I've been busy, Mom. I already told you." "Michael, you used to always make time for me. Even if it was half an hour. Even if it was a quick call. Things change, Mom. I'm not a kid anymore." His words fell on me like stones. "I know, son, but that doesn't mean you have to forget your mother." "I'm not forgetting you. I'm just living my life." And that was when I understood. Living his life meant living it without me. I hung up the phone with a broken heart. I sat on the couch, staring into the void, wondering what I had done wrong. Had I been too present, too insistent, or did I simply no longer fit in the life Michael was building with Tiffany? 2 weeks later, I decided to go to their apartment. I didn't warn them. I didn't call ahead. I just took my purse, made a lasagna he always liked, and went. I needed to see him. I needed to look him in the eyes and feel that he was still my son. When I arrived at the building, the security guard stopped me. "Good afternoon." "Which apartment?" 502. "I'm Mr. Michael Vance's mother. Do you have an appointment?" "An appointment?" "He's my son. I don't need an appointment." The guard checked his list. "I have instructions that only authorized persons can go up." "I am his mother," I said firmly. "Of course I am authorized." He hesitated. Then he picked up the phone and dialed. "Mr. Vance, your mother is here. Shall I grant access?" I waited. The guard listened, nodded, hung up. "You can go up." But something in his look made me feel uncomfortable, as if Michael had hesitated before saying yes. I went up to the 5th floor with my heart in my throat. I knocked on the door. Michael opened it. He was in sweatpants and a t-shirt, barefoot. He looked tired. "Mom, I didn't know you were coming." "I know, son. Sorry, but I brought you lasagna. I thought you'd like it." He looked at the container in my hands, but he didn't smile. "Thanks, Mom. But we're actually just leaving. Tiffany has a dentist appointment and I'm going with her." "Oh, well, I won't take long. I just wanted to see you for a moment. We really have to go." Tiffany appeared behind him, already dressed up, hair down, wearing an elegant casual dress. "Hello, Eleanor," she said with that smile that never reached her eyes. What a surprise. "Hello, Tiffany. Sorry for coming without notice. I just brought this for Michael." "How nice. But we really do have to leave now. Traffic is horrible." Michael took the container from my hands. "Thanks, Mom. I'll call you later." Yes, honey." Have a good trip." He gave me a quick kiss on the cheek and closed the door. I stood there in the empty hallway, feeling like I had just been dismissed like a salesperson, a stranger. I walked out of the building with tears falling uncontrollably. Why did Tiffany always have an excuse to keep me away? Why didn't Michael defend me anymore? And worst of all, why did I keep allowing it? 3 more weeks passed. During that time, I tried to occupy my mind. I cleaned the house, cooked, watched television, but nothing filled the void I felt. One day, while I was at the supermarket buying vegetables, I saw an older woman with her daughter. They were laughing, walking arm in arm, looking happy, and I burst into tears right there between the tomato and cilantro stands. The woman stocking the produce saw me. "Are you okay, ma'am?" Yes. Excuse me, I just remembered something." She handed me a bunch of cilantro. "Take this. Hope your day gets better." I thanked her and left quickly before anyone else noticed my shame. That night I received a text message from Michael. A text message, not even a call. "Mom, Tiffany and I are going to Hawaii next weekend. We'll let you know when we get back." He didn't ask how I was, didn't say he missed me, just informed me they were leaving. Like someone informing you they're going to the grocery store. Something in me broke that night. It wasn't a scream, it wasn't a crisis, it was something quieter. It was realizing that my son no longer needed me, and worse, that maybe he no longer loved me. During those days, I started reviewing every detail, every conversation, every gesture, from when Tiffany started pushing him away from me. And then I remembered that time, months ago, when Michael came to see me alone. It was a Saturday morning. I made him coffee and sweetbread. We were chatting peacefully when his phone rang. It was Tiffany. He answered, "Yes, my love." I didn't hear what she said, but I saw Michael's face change. "Yes, I'm with my mom." "No, I didn't tell you because it was impromptu." "Yes, I know." "No, I won't be long." He hung up. "Everything okay, son?" "Yeah, Mom. It's just that Tiffany needs me to help with some things at the house." "But you just got here." "I know, Mom, but I promised I'd be with her today." He left 15 minutes later, and I was left with cold coffee and untouched bread. At that moment, I didn't see it, but now I understood. Tiffany didn't want Michael spending time with me, and he preferred to please her than stay with me. I also remembered another time. On my birthday last year. Michael called me in the morning. "Happy birthday, Mom. What are you doing today?" "Nothing special, honey. Maybe I'll make myself something nice to eat. Do you want us to come see you tonight?" "Really?" "I would love that. Let me confirm with Tiffany and I'll let you know." I waited all afternoon. At 6 p.m. I got a message. "Mom, I'm sorry. Tiffany isn't feeling well. Better to leave it for another day. Love you." They didn't come. I spent my birthday alone with a little candle on a cupcake I bought at the corner store, and I cried while singing happy birthday to myself. Now, sitting in my living room, with those memories weighing on my chest, I realized something terrible. Tiffany wasn't just pushing Michael away from me, she was training him to forget me. And the worst part was, it was working. 2 days later, I received another call from Michael. "Mom, we're back from Hawaii." "That's great, son. Did you have a nice time?" "Yeah, very nice. Listen, Mom, Tiffany and I want to invite you to dinner again to make up for the restaurant thing." My heart skipped a beat. "Really?" "Yes. Tiffany said it would be good for us to start over." "I would love that, son." "When?" "Friday." "We'll send you the address." I hung up with a mix of hope and fear. Maybe, just maybe, things could get better. Maybe Tiffany had reflected. Maybe Michael had remembered who I was. Maybe there was still a chance. How naive I was. Friday arrived. I dressed up again, put on the same navy blue dress, the same perfume. I wanted to show them that I was still the same, that I held no grudge, that I just wanted my family to be okay. I arrived at the restaurant 15 minutes early. It was a different place, more modest, less elegant than Angel's Landing. I thought that was a good sign, that maybe they wanted something more intimate, more sincere. But when I walked in, something didn't feel right. Tiffany was sitting alone at a table. Michael hadn't arrived. "Hello, Eleanor," she said, smiling. "Sit down. Michael is on his way. He had to resolve something at work." I sat across from her, nervous. Thanks for the invitation, Tiffany. You're welcome. I think it was necessary. The other day was uncomfortable. Yes, it was. She toyed with her water glass, looking at me fixedly. Eleanor, I want us to speak honestly. Of course. I feel like there's something between us that doesn't work, and I think it's important to clarify it. My heart started beating faster. What do you mean? Tiffany sighed as if it cost her effort to say it. Look, I know you love Michael, and I know you were a good mother to him, but now he has a life with me, and I think you have to understand that. I understand that, Tiffany. I've never wanted to get in the way, but you do, Eleanor. Without realizing it, you do. You show up without warning. You call him all the time. You always expect him to be available for you, and that affects us. I felt the air escaping me. I just want to see my son. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's not bad, but it's too much. Michael needs space. He needs to build his own family, and you have to let him go. Tears started burning my eyes. Let him go, Tiffany? He's my son. He's the only thing I have. And that is the problem, Eleanor, that he is the only thing you have. That puts enormous pressure on him. I remained silent because deep down I knew she was right, but that didn't make it hurt any less. At that moment, Michael arrived. Sorry. Traffic was impossible. He sat next to Tiffany and kissed her on the cheek. What were you talking about? Nothing, my love. Just chatting. Tiffany looked at me, and in her eyes, I saw a silent warning. Don't say anything. I nodded, swallowing everything I had just felt, and the dinner passed in a tension that only I seemed to notice. After that dinner, something changed in me. It wasn't a visible change. I didn't stop loving Michael. I didn't stop wanting to see him. But I started to be afraid of calling him too much, afraid of visiting without notice, afraid of being too much. Tiffany's words were etched in my mind like a sentence. You have to let him go. And I tried to do it. I tried to be less present, less needy, less of a mother, as if that were possible. I stopped calling Michael every day. Now I waited for him to call me. And when he did, I pretended to be busy. I pretended I had a life full of things. Oh, son, good thing you called. I was just heading out. Where are you going, Mom? Oh, to the store to buy some things. I lied. I wasn't going anywhere. I was sitting in my living room looking at the phone, waiting for his call. But I didn't want him to know that. I didn't want Tiffany to be right. I didn't want to be that mother who had nothing else in life but her son, even if it was true. I also stopped cooking for him. Before, every week I prepared something his favorite: lasagna, pot roast, meatloaf, chicken soup, when I knew he was tired. But now I thought, what if Tiffany thinks I'm being invasive? What if she thinks I want to make her look bad? So I stopped doing it. And Michael never asked why. He never said, Mom, I miss your food. He simply accepted it as if it were normal. Months passed. I lived in a kind of limbo. Not close enough to bother them, not far enough to be forgotten, or so I believed. Because the truth is, they were already forgetting me. One day in October, Michael called me. Mom, are you free Sunday? Yes, honey. What's up? We're going to have a BBQ at the apartment with some friends. Do you want to come? My heart leaped. Really? Of course, son. Should I bring anything? No, Mom. Don't worry. Just come. I hung up excited. Maybe things were improving. Maybe Tiffany had changed her mind. Maybe I did have a place in Michael's life. Sunday, I arrived early. I put on my best clothes, brought a cake I bought at the bakery, nothing homemade. I didn't want Tiffany to think I was competing. When I arrived at the apartment, there were already several people. Music, laughter, the smell of grilled meat. Michael opened the door. Mom, glad you made it. Come in. He introduced me to his friends. This is my mom, Eleanor. Nice to meet you, ma'am. Nice to meet you. They were all young people, Michael's age, well-dressed, talking about things I didn't understand: apps, investments, trips to Napa Valley, new restaurants. I sat in a corner of the living room with my glass of soda, trying to smile. Tiffany was on the terrace grilling the meat with Michael. I saw her laugh, touch him, kiss him on the cheek. They looked so complete, as if they needed no one else. One of Tiffany's friends, a blonde girl wearing sunglasses even though we were inside, sat next to me. And what do you do, Mrs. Vance? Well, I'm retired. I used to work as a housekeeper. She nodded, but said nothing else. She just took her wine glass and went with the other girls. I felt small, invisible, as if I had nothing interesting to say, nothing valuable to contribute. At one moment, Tiffany raised her glass. Guys, a toast to Michael, who just closed an incredible project at the firm. Everyone applauded. And for Tiffany, who just got a promotion, shouted one of the friends. More applause, more laughter. I clapped too from my corner, but no one saw me. When it got dark, people started to leave. I got up to say goodbye too. Michael, son, I'm leaving now. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thanks for coming, Mom. I'll walk you to the door. Tiffany was collecting plates. She didn't even turn to look at me. Bye, Tiffany. Thank you very much. Bye, Eleanor. Get home safe. Michael walked me to the elevator. Did you have a good time, Mom? Yes, honey, very good. Your friends are very nice. I'm glad. Hey, Mom, can I ask you something? Of course, son, whatever you want. Next time you come, let me know ahead of time. Yes. It's just that Tiffany likes to have everything organized. I felt a prick in my chest. But you invited me today, son. Yes, I know, but in general. For other times. Sure, yes. I'll let you know. The elevator arrived. I got on. Love you, Mom. I love you too, son. The doors closed, and I broke down crying. November arrived, and with it, Michael's birthday. 32 years old. I had always made him a homemade chocolate cake, his favorite, with candles and a handmade card. But this year, I didn't know what to do. Should I bring him the cake, or would it be too much? I decided to call him. Son. Happy birthday. Thanks, Mom. What are you doing today? Tiffany organized a dinner for me with her family and some friends. Oh, how nice. Can I see you, even for a little while? It's going to be complicated, Mom. We're going to be busy all day. Not even a quick coffee in the morning? Mom, I really can't. But I promise we'll see each other another day. Yes, sure, son. Have a wonderful time. Thanks. Love you. I hung up. And that day I spent it alone with the cake I had made, even though he didn't know it. I ate a slice. I put a candle on it, sang happy birthday to a photograph of him, and cried until I fell asleep on the couch. December arrived, cold and gray. The streets filled with Christmas decorations, lights, carols, families buying gifts together. I walked alone through the market watching all that, feeling that every happy family was a mirror of what I had lost. One day I received a message from Michael. Mom, Tiffany and I are going to spend Christmas with her family in Dallas. We'll let you know when we get back. I read the message 3 times. I couldn't believe it. It was our first Christmas apart. Always we had spent Christmas together, since he was born. Even when he had a girlfriend in high school, he returned home to have dinner with me. But now Tiffany was his priority, and I was the leftovers. I replied, Okay, son, have a beautiful time. I love you both. But inside, I was dying. I spent Christmas Eve alone. I set the table as always. I made turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, eggnog. I set 2 plates, one for me, another for Michael's empty chair. I sat across from that empty chair and ate in silence. At midnight, when the fireworks and bells started, I looked out the window. I saw families hugging, laughing, toasting, and I toasted alone with my glass of cider, with the radio on so I wouldn't feel the silence. Merry Christmas, Michael, I whispered, looking at his photograph on the mantel. 2 days later, Michael called me. Mom, Merry Christmas. How was it? Good, son, quiet. And you guys? Very good. Tiffany's family is very big. It was a lot of fun. That's great, son, I'm glad. And who did you have dinner with? Alone, son. But don't worry, I was fine. Silence. Mom. It's okay, Michael. Seriously. You have your life. I understand, Mom. Don't say that. It's the truth, son, and it's okay. The truth was, it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. January arrived like a mouthful of bitter air. I kept trying to be less present, less demanding, but every time I succeeded, I felt emptier, as if by trying not to bother, I was erasing myself. One afternoon, while cleaning the house, I found an old box under my bed. Inside were all the cards Michael had made me as a child for the best mom in the world. Thanks for taking care of me, Mom. I love you to infinity. I sat on the floor surrounded by those cards, crying like I hadn't cried in years. Where was that child? Where was that unconditional love? Had I lost it forever? February brought with it a new invitation. Michael called me, excited. Mom, Tiffany and I want to invite you to dinner to celebrate. My heart accelerated. Celebrate what, son? I'll tell you there. It's a surprise. When? Friday. I'll send you the address. Okay, son. I'll be there. I hung up with a mix of excitement and fear. Maybe they were going to announce they were expecting a baby. Maybe that would give me back a place in their lives. Maybe there was still hope. Friday arrived. I dressed with care. The same navy blue dress that was starting to seem like a curse to me, but it was the only elegant one I had. I arrived at the restaurant 15 minutes early. This time, it was Angel's Landing, the same place where it all started. I felt a chill upon entering. Michael and Tiffany were already at the table. She looked radiant. He looked nervous. Hi, Mom, Michael greeted me, giving me a kiss on the cheek. Hello, Eleanor, Tiffany said with that smile that never reached her eyes. I sat across from them, my hands sweating. So, what are we celebrating? Michael looked at Tiffany. She nodded. Mom, Tiffany and I are going to buy a house. I felt a blow to the chest. A house? Yes, it's a beautiful house in a gated community with a garden, 3 bedrooms. That's great, son. I'm very happy for you. And we want you to come see it when it's ready. I smiled, but inside I felt something breaking. Because a house means permanence. It means roots. It means Michael wasn't coming back. The dinner passed in a tense calm. I tried to appear happy, enthusiastic, but every word they said about their house, about their future, about their plans, reminded me that I wasn't in those plans. And then it happened. Tiffany got up to go to the bathroom. She left her purse on the open chair. I didn't look at it. I didn't want to go through that again. But when she returned, her face changed, and I knew, before she said a single word, that everything was going to start over. Tiffany rummaged through her purse with quick, frantic movements. Her fingers dug through things. The phone, keys, wallet, makeup. It can't be, she murmured. Michael left his wine glass on the table. What's wrong, Tiffany? She looked up. Her eyes shone with something I couldn't decipher. Fear, rage, or something worse. My money. Again. The world stopped. What do you mean again? Michael asked with a furrowed brow. I had $800 in here. I counted them this morning before leaving. I put them in this compartment. She pointed to the inside of her purse. And they're not there. I felt the blood drain from my face. Tiffany. My voice came out trembling. I didn't touch your purse, I swear. She looked at me fixedly, unblinking. I didn't say it was you, Eleanor. But her tone said exactly that. Michael ran his hands through his hair, breathing deeply. This can't be happening again. Well, it is happening, Michael. And this time, I'm not going to stay quiet. Tiffany raised her hand and called the restaurant manager. A tall man in a dark suit approached with a professional smile. Good evening. How can I help you? I want to speak with you in private, Tiffany said with a firm voice. The manager looked at Michael, then at me, and nodded. Of course. Follow me, please. Tiffany got up. Michael, too. I stayed seated, paralyzed. Mom, come on, Michael said with a tense voice. Yes, come on, Mom, please. I got up with trembling legs. I felt all the eyes of the restaurant pinned to my back. They took us to a small office behind the kitchen. The manager closed the door. What seems to be the problem? Tiffany spoke first with that rehearsed calm she used when she wanted to sound reasonable. 3 months ago, we dined here, and $800 was stolen from my purse while I was in the restroom. Tonight, exactly the same amount happened again, in exactly the same circumstances. The manager frowned. Ma'am, I am very sorry to hear that, but we have a very strict security protocol. Our staff is completely trustworthy. I am not accusing your staff, Tiffany said, glancing at me sideways, but something is happening, and I want to know what. The manager cleared his throat. Do you have any proof that the money was in the purse? Proof? Tiffany laughed bitterly. Do you want me to show you a receipt that I put my own money in my own purse? No, ma'am. I'm just trying to understand the situation. Michael intervened with a tired voice. Do you have security cameras? The manager hesitated. Yes, we have cameras in the dining area. Then review them, Tiffany said, crossing her arms. I want to see who approached our table while I was gone. My heart was beating so hard I thought everyone could hear it.